we're going to start our English discussion of Bhagavad Gita. We'll go very fast today, double speed. You can continue, you can take rest, whatever you want to do. आप English समझते हैं? We'll now discuss English Gita. It's not compulsory, compulsory नहीं है जैसे ठीक. Let's start. Bhagavad Gita 1.12. Tasya Sanjay, we have discussed, we have heard what Duryodhana has spoken, and he's spoken that everybody should help Dronacharya because he's old man. So now Dronacharya being encouraged by Duryodhana, what he does. So from there the discussion starts. Tasya Sanjayanan Harsham
Tasya Sanjayanan Harsham
Kuru Vridha Pitamaha
Kuru Vridham Pitamaha
Sinkhnadam Vinodyochai
Sankhanadam Vinodyochai
Shankham Dadmau Pratapavan
Shankha Dadmau Pratapavan
Tasya Sanjayanam Harsham. Tasya means his means Duryodhana's. To increase Harsham, to increase the happiness of Duryodhana. Sanjayanan, that means Sanjayanan means to increase. So to increase the happiness of Duryodhana, Kuru Vridha Pitamaha. Pitamaha means grandfather. Kuru Vridha means the old among the Kurus. Singhnadham Vinodyochai. Singhnad. His conchal blowing was like the sound of a lion. Vinodyochai, very loudly he sounded his shankha. Shankham Dadbhav Pratapavan. He blew his very powerful conchal. Very simple. Who blew? Bhishma Dev. Then Bhishma, the great valiant grandsire of the Kuru dynasty, the grandfather of the fighters, blew his conchal very loudly, making a sound like the roar of a lion, giving Duryodhana joy. Then Bhishma, in great joy, understanding that Duryodhana was praising him, blew his conchal to drive away the inner fear of Duryodhana. So you have understood, not only Dronacharya could understand the fear of Duryodhana, but even Bhishma was understanding. So you must understand, they are very intelligent people, very intelligent in diplomacy. So he is trying to hide his fear, but he could not hide his fear. See the army of Pandavas. He has spoken very loudly. So now, not Dronacharya, don't confuse me. Bhishma Dev, because he has told yesterday that we were discussing yesterday that Bhishma is very important, but is old. So everybody, all of you should protect. Yatha bhagam avastitaha. But so now Bhishma, understanding his consciousness, he blew his conchal to show, no, I'm ready to fight very strongly. Without saying a word, just by blowing his conch, Bhishma announced that he would give up his life according to Kshatriya Dharma for Duryodhana, though victory or defeat was really dependent only on the Lord. Now it is quite interesting, you see, yesterday Duryodhana could not recognize one person's presence, and that was Krishna. But Bhishma, being a devotee, was knowing, my dear, whatever, I would say rascal, but whatever, my dear Duryodhana, you know, you are not counting Krishna. I am going to fight very strongly because with intent he has blown his conchal. But we should remember that it's not simply by strength that we can win over the war. Ultimately, everything depends on Krishna. So we have discussed this yesterday. This is a mood of a devotee. He may do his duty, but he knows everything. The result will depend on Krishna. That is a mood of Vishwadev. Purport. Am I speaking English too fast? It seems so. Should I go very slowly? Is it okay? The grandsire of the Kuru dynasty could understand the inner meaning of the heart of his grandson Duryodhana. Just 1 second, you can check the sound on YouTube. Sorry, Zoom is coming clearly. Okay. Where we were. Sorry. Yeah. Understanding the inner meaning of the heart of his grandson Duryodhana, and out of his natural compassion for him, he tried to cheer him by blowing his conchal very loudly, befitting his position as a lion. Befitting his position as a lion means he was very, very strong and valiant. Indirectly, by the symbolism of the conchal, he informed his depressed grandson, Duryodhana, that he had no chance of victory in the battle because the Supreme Lord Krishna was on the other side. It's very straightforward. But still it was his duty to conduct the fight, and no pains would be spared in that connection. Nothing to explain in this. Tatah Shankhaschcha Bheryascha
शङ्खाश्च भेदश्च
Padmanaka Gomukhaha
सर्वानकगोमुखा
Sahasevabhyahanyanta
सहसैवाभ्यहन्यन्तः
Shabdastu Mulo
सह
Bhava.
शब्दस्तु मूलो भवत्
Tatah means after Bhishmadev had blown his conch shell, thereafter Shankhascha Bheryascha. Shankha, you understand? Shankha means conch shell. Bheryascha, Bherya Prabhupada is translating as a large drum. Have you seen in the Mahabharata, they have a very huge drum which they beat like ding, 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 like that. So like that it was being beaten. Something like that. Padamanaka. What does Srila Prabhupada explain? Padamanaka. Padam and Anaka are small drums and kettle drums. That we must have also seen. In the villages, they used to carry their very small drum, which is like our vampa, djembe. But it is also, no, it is also played with only those two sticks. But it's very small. Ding, 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 like this. Gomukha. Gomukha is also some kind of a drum. Sahaseva. Sahasa in Hindi we understand is Sahasa means suddenly. Sahasevabhya hanyanta. All of them sounded suddenly. That's a very nice way of saying. The mridangas sounded suddenly. It, by the exact meaning of this word sentence is as if the mridangas were sounding on their own. That will be explained in the commentary. So the word is the shankhas blew, the bheryas blew. So it appears that they were making the sound on their own, but that is not the meaning. But the meaning is that they were being blown by several people. But exact meaning is that suddenly all the instruments blew. But you know that it is not possible. It means that the people who were standing there, the soldiers, they actually were beating the drums and blowing the conch shells. Shankha is very powerful sound. Yeah. Sa shabdas tumulo bhavat. Sa means the shabda. The sa shabdas means the sound which came out of all of them. Tumulo bhavat. It became, tumulo means very big sound came from all this. Notice all these points. The conch shell of Drona was powerful. The drums, the sound was tumula. Let me just relieve the suspense. But nothing is told about Pandavas. That nothing is, in their hearts, nothing is happening. They are not feeling fear. You remember this point, and we'll notice what happens when the Pandavas are blowing their conch shell. Okay? Let's see that. After that, you say why the music is needed. I used to watch, I must admit, I used to watch WWF as a Karmi. So before the wrestler will come, they will make a lot of noise. So that creates a mood, Oh, this person is coming. And then, that person is coming. And like that. So that creates a mood for the fighting, so to speak. Stupidity, all these things. Actual fight is Kshatriyas. After that, the conch shells, drums, bugles, trumpets, and horns were all suddenly sounded, and the combined sound was tumultuous. It's interesting how nowadays when they fight, they will not make any sound. So that means there is no valiancy now. Nobody is valiant. They want to hide and fight. Gita Bhushan, at the time that Bhishma blew his conch, instruments and conches began to sound suddenly in his army. Abhyahanyanta is a reflexive passive, literally meaning the instruments were sounded by themselves or the instruments made sound. I was referring to this point. I mean, the exact meaning is this, but it means that everybody present there actually blew these instruments. Padama, Anaka, and Gomukha are types of instruments. The sound was very great since the instruments sounded all at once, like that sound. Okay, this is nothing to explain. Now, Tataha means thereafter, next. Please chant. Tataha shveter hayer yukte.
ततः श्वेतैर्हरैर्युक्ते
Mahati sandane stitau.
महति सन्दने हित्थो
Madhavah pandavaschaiva.
माधवः पाण्डवश्चैव
Divyau shankhau pradadmhatu.
दिव्यो शङ्खो प्रदब्धनु.
Tataha means after the blowing of the conch shells of Bhishma and the Kauravas, Tataha. Then Shweter, what do you mean by Shwet? Shwet means white. Hayar means horses. Shweter Hayar Yukte Mahati Sandane. Mahati means great and Sandane means the chariot. So Stitau is in dual, not singular and plural, dual. In Sanskrit is called Stitau. That means Krishna, Madhava and Pandava. Pandava here is referring to Arjuna. They were situated on a great chariot which was driven by white horses. This is the meaning of the first line. Can you catch it? And Chaiva, Divyau Shankhau Pradadbhatau. Divya means transcendental in dual. That means the conch shell of Krishna and conch shell of Arjuna. Both were transcendental. You understand dual? Plural, dual, and singular. Singular, dual, and plural. That goes in Sanskrit. Shankhau means two conch shells. Divyau means two. Divyau Shankhau means two transcendental conch shells of Krishna and Arjuna. Was something of this sort mentioned for any of the Kauravas? No. So specifically about Arjuna and Lord Krishna is mentioned that their conch shells were transcendental. Pradadmatahu means they also sounded their transcendental conch shells. Very nice. It just reminds me of Krishna when he comes back to Dwarka. He plays his conch shell, and the conch shell reflects the reddishness of Lord Krishna's lips. And there is very nice analogies given in that regard. I'm forgetting, like, the conch shell was looking like Hans is called Swan, is playing in the lotus stem or something like that. Beautiful analogy, it just reminds me of Krishna. So it gave a great joy to the residents of Dwarka that our Lord has come back. But anyhow, here Lord Krishna and Arjuna is blowing their conch shells, transcendental conch shells. On the other side, both Lord Krishna and Arjuna, stationed on a great chariot drawn by white horses, sounded their transcendental conch shells. In this verse, the desire to fight which arose in the troops of the Pandavas is described. They have sounded their conch shells, who? The Kauravas. So they wanted to fight. So now it is indicated that Pandavas also wanted to fight, and that's why they also blew their conch shells. Though the others were also standing in their chariots, Krishna and Arjuna are particularly mentioned in this regard to indicate the special nature of the chariot given by Agni himself, which had great power and could conquer the three worlds. So when did Agni give? The note is given here. Agni gave the chariot, quiver and horses to Arjuna and the chakra to Krishna before he devoured the Khanda forest. A small story. Agni became diminished in his power because he was fed a lot of ghee by some king. I don't remember the name of the king. And then he wanted to rejuvenate his fire. Are you able to understand these words? It's like in our stomach, sometimes we don't have digestion power. So we take some medicines by which the fire is activated. So similarly, Agni wanted to eat this forest of Khandava. But the Khanda forest was protected by Indra. So anytime he wanted to devour it, Indra will put rain. So then Agni approached as a Brahmana in front of Lord Krishna and Arjuna, and they said, okay, you can devour it, but we will protect. So when Indra came, so then Arjuna with his arrows made a kind of umbrella which completely covered the whole forest like this. So Agni could devour it, and in that return, Agni gave this special Sandane, that means the chariot, to Arjuna. And Chakra was given, Sudarshan Chakra was given to Krishna. But this, you have to understand, is all part of pastime. Krishna always has this eternal weapon, but just as an instrument or whatever, Agni is giving this Chakra to Krishna. Mahabharata is quite interesting. Purport. In contrast with the conch shell blown by Bhishma Dev, the conch shells in the hands of Krishna and Arjuna are described as transcendental. Okay? The sounds of the transcendental conch shells indicated that there was no hope of victory for the other side because Krishna was on the side of the Pandavas. Okay, just a small question. When Bhishma Dev had sounded his conch shell, what did he indicate? Do you remember just now we read? When Bhishma Dev had sounded his conch shell, what was the indication given by the conch shell blowing of Bhishma Dev? Krishna is on the other side. I will do my duty, but I don't think we can win. And now what is indicated here? Krishna and Arjuna are transcendental. They are blowing their conches. Definitely they are going to win. So there, those things that have to be understood. Jayastu Panduputranam Yesham Paksha Janardanah. Victory is always with persons like the sons of Pandu because Lord is associated with them. And whenever and wherever the Lord is present, the goddess of fortune is also there because the goddess of fortune never lives alone without her husband. Beautiful point. A person, Lakshmi Devi is called Chanchala because a person, she doesn't like to stay at one place, but she very much likes to stay at the lotus feet of Narayan. So when a person serves Narayan, naturally the blessings of Lakshmi Devi is on that person. It is mentioned that when a person pays obeisance to Krishna, Lakshmi Ji, Shrimati Radharani looks very favorably to that person. So naturally he becomes even materially very opulent, whatever is needed in his life. You cannot say, I'm not becoming Karodpati. You don't, just think about it. Even if you get Karodpati and you don't understand a word of Bhagavad Gita, will your life be happy, Amarnath? All the wealth is given and all the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita is taken away from us. Then what is the value of that money? You naturally think, I have to eat only 4 chapatis. Karnamrit Prabhu is anyhow giving. Why I need more money? Isn't it? That's quite amazing. And you can't purchase the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita by money. That's an interesting thing. Okay. Therefore, victory and fortune were awaiting Arjuna, as indicated by the transcendent sound produced by the conch shell of Vishnu or Lord Krishna. This is amazing, isn't it? Vishnu is on your side. Can you actually, we don't have much time to bring out some reflections, but reflect upon it. Krishna is just sitting next to you in a war. Just like amazing, isn't it? This Krishna is just next to you and he's guiding you and he's giving you all the intelligence to do whatever you have to do for his service. Besides that, the chariot on which both the friends were seated had been donated by Agni to Arjuna, and this indicated that this chariot was capable of conquering all sides, wherever it was drawn over the 3 words. So I don't have to explain in this. This is very easy. Panchajanyam Rishikesho Devadattam Dhananjayah Paundram Dadmau Mahashankham Bhimakarma Vrikodaraha. Rishikesha means Krishna, who is a master of senses. Panchajanyam, his consul's name was Panchajanya, whom he brought from by killing a demon whose name was also Panchajanya. You know that pastime. Devadattam Dhananjaya, the consul's name of Arjuna. Dhananjaya means who brought so lot of wealth for his brother Ajishtar, was Devadatta. Poundram Dadmau Mahashankham. The Poundram, what is the meaning of Poundram here, Prabhupada? Poundram. Yeah. So the name of the Shankh of conch shell of Bhima was Poundram. And it was a Mahashankha. You know why it is called Mahashankha? Because his conch shell was the skull of a human being. That's what I heard from senior devotees. I don't know. Difficult to digest, but that's what he blew. Bhima Karma Vrikodara. Bhima Karma means he was Vrikodara means he was a voracious eater, and Bhima Karma means he was doing Herculean task. Srila Prabhupada says in one of the lectures, big monkey, big belly, jumping Ceylon melancholy. You understand this? When Lord Ram was asked him who can jump over the sea to go to Lanka. So before that, they were big monkeys. They will eat very nicely. I said, we are very powerful. But when actual time to do some work was there, they were melancholy. Melancholy means sad. We cannot do. But Bhima was not like that. He would eat very nicely and do strong lot of work. Lord Krishna blew his conch shell called Panchajanya. Arjuna blew his, the Devadatta, and Bhima, the voracious eater and performer of Herculean tasks, blew his terrific conch shell called Poundra. The names of the conches starting with Krishna's Panchajanya are listed. The word Rishikesa, the master of senses used in describing the Lord, indicates that the Lord would help his army. He would help by directing their senses skillfully. It's very easy to understand. Mentioning the names of the conscience indicates that this person had many conscious of divine nature. The word Raj, this is very interesting. Maybe, oh, so this commentary also includes the commentary of the shlokas further. So that's why these words are there. You will just now you're going to see the shlokas. I should have actually put them at the later stage, but anyhow, we're going to read it. This is a little bit confusion. This commentary of chapter shloka 15 finishes here, senses skillfully, and the other the commentary of this what we are reading now is for the further shlokas. But because Acharya has given all of them together, so I put them here. But you will see it later on also. The word Raja indicates that Yudhishthira had performed the Rajasuya Yajna. This will come in the coming shlokas. What does it mean? It means Yudhishthira Maharaj will be addressed as Raja in the coming shlokas. And now you may question, he's not a Raja, he's not a king here. Just like Duryodhan was also addressed as Raja because he was expert in politics. So now here Yudhishthira Maharaj will be addressed as Raja because he has done Rajasuya Yajna before 13 years. 13 years before he has done the Rajasuya Yajna, that's why he is addressed as Raja. Now he's not a king. He will be king after the battle. The word Bhima Karma indicates that Bhima had killed many demons such as Hidamba. You know this Hidamba? Hidamba was his wife, and Hidimba was the brother of Hidimba. बहन को नहीं मारा था, हिडिम्ब को मारा था. Hidimba was married to Bhima, and from there they got Ghatotkacha. The word Dhananjaya indicates, I want to say so many stories, but we have less time. The word Dhananjaya indicates that Arjuna had gathered unlimited treasures when he went out to conquer the Rakshasas. This was all during the Rajasuya sacrifice. Thus, the outstanding nature of the Pandava army is indicated. The opposing army not having these descriptive names was therefore inferior. Oh, very interesting. You see, none of the people were mentioned like this. We have mentioned here now Bhima Karma for Bhima and then Dhananjaya for Arjuna. So this all refers to that they were very powerful and they're very favored by Lord also. But this was not mentioned for the Kaurava army. So clear. Purport. Lord Krishna is referred to as Rishikesha in this verse because he is the owner of all senses. The living entities are part and parcel of him, and therefore the senses of the living entities are also part and parcel of his senses. That means the senses, our senses are not our senses, they belong to Lord Krishna. That's the point Prabhupada is saying. The impersonalist cannot account for the senses of the living entities, and therefore they are always anxious to describe all living entities as senseless or impersonal. What is the meaning what Prabhupada is telling? They do not understand. When you say Krishna, the living entity is eternal servant of Krishna, it means naturally the living entity must have senses. By that it will be serving Krishna eternally. But because they do not know this, their conception of Atma is very vague. It's some kind of a light which doesn't have any eyes, or which doesn't have any legs or like that. So they can't understand the situation of the living entities. The Lord, situated in the hearts of all living entities, directs their senses. Very interesting. We are sitting here discussing Bhagavad Gita. Somebody may be watching a movie. Somebody may be going to a hotel. So why is like that? Why is like that? Why everybody is doing different activity? Because the Lord is inspiring differently. And why He is inspiring differently? Because they desire differently. Yes. But He directs in terms of the surrender of the living entity, and in the case of a pure devotee, He directly controls the senses. Beautiful point Srila Prabhupada explaining. When we take birth, Krishna will give us the knowledge of eating, mating, sleeping, defending. Nobody has to be trained for that, is it not? Unless we have done some service to Krishna, knowingly or unknowingly, Krishna does not reveal the knowledge in the heart. Life after life after life after life. Do you agree, Amarnath Prabhu? Isn't it? We just took birth and we were just eating, sleeping, maybe not mating. But people are doing mating, all those things. Nobody has to train that. Krishna spontaneously gives that knowledge. But when we have done some service to the Lord, He will remind us. I'm just see in my own life, I never worshipped anybody. It just did not come into my heart that I should worship anybody for any reason. Hanumanji, Durgaji, Shivji. I have respect for all of them. They are all Vaishnavas. But as demigod, I did not worship anybody. Sometimes I would go to temple also just to get the laddu, not have much to do with the demigod being worshipped there. And when it was given, that Krishna consciousness was given, is immediately made sense. So what is that? It's from a previous life also. Just carrying forward that. This gives me a lot of hope. No discouragement. Just continue with Krishna consciousness. Next time Krishna will again inspire. Even if you don't go back to Godhead, still Krishna will inspire us in bhakti. Beautiful. This is a very nice point of Krishna consciousness. And collect as much as possible we can collect in this life in Krishna consciousness. So how much we have surrendered, how much we have served, that much Krishna reveals and directs. Because Arjuna is fully surrendered, so he is fully giving guidance. Here on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, the Lord directly controls the transcendental senses of Arjuna and thus his particular name of Hrishikesha. So be very careful. Whatever illusion will come upon Arjuna from text number 20th onwards is only by the direct arrangement of Lord. He's an eternal associate. There is no chance that illusion can touch him. So this is the significance of the word Hrishikesha. The Lord has different names according to his different activities. For example, his name is Madhusudan because he killed the demon of the name Madhu. His name Govinda because he gives pleasure to the cows and to the senses. Do you think Krishna gives pleasure to the senses? I mean, he gives pleasure to the cows, we understand. Do you know how he gives pleasure to the senses? You're not dumb. Well, you know the answer. When you see Krishna, you don't feel happy. When you take prasadam, you don't feel happy. Stop giving him prasadam. No, why? So he likes prasadam, isn't it, Krishna? Isn't it? When we hear Krishna Katha, don't we feel happy? When we chant Hari Nam, we don't feel happy. So this Krishna by default is pleasure, is full of pleasure. So whenever the senses come in contact with Krishna, we become happy. Okay. It's not every question is not very philosophical. It's simple. His name is Vasudeva because he's appeared as a son of Vasudeva. His name is Devaki Nandan because he accepted Devaki as his mother. His name is Yashoda Nandan because he awarded his childhood pastimes to Yashoda at Vrindavan. Amazing. Awarded his. Sometimes I want to speak about all those things. He awarded his childhood pastimes to Yashoda at Vrindavan. What beautiful words Srila Prabhupada is using. Awarded. See this pastimes, people. Amazing the word, just amazing. Awarded his childhood pastimes to Yashoda. Yashoda could see that pastimes. We will go into Krishna book by just thinking about this. But have you seen that pastime of Krishna where he's a very small boy, very sweet, and this is holding the slippers of Nanda Maharaj on his head and bringing, and Mada Yashoda is running after Krishna in this month of Kartik. The bliss. Iti dirksva lila bhirananda kunde swaghosham nimajjantam akhyapayantam. Ananda kunde, this is amazing. What is the meaning of Ananda Kunda? Is a pool of Ananda. He's immersing his associates of Braja in that Kunda by his childhood pastimes. Anyhow, let us come back to Bhagavad Gita. His name is Partha Sarthi because he worked as charioteer of his friend Arjuna. Every word we can speak so many things on it, but this all shows his love for his devotees. Similarly, his name is Rishikesh because he gave direction to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Arjuna is referred to as Dhananjaya in this verse because he helped his elder brother in fetching wealth when it was required by the king to make expenditures for different sacrifices. While in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Krishna, when Arjuna has taken a vow that he will kill Jayadratha or he will give up his life, so Krishna could not sleep. Arjuna was sleeping very nicely. So Krishna said, how can you sleep nicely? So you're taking such a big vow. So you are there. You are there to protect. What do we have to worry? So Krishna was constantly planning how to give victory to the Pandavas. Similarly, Bhima is known as Vrikodarha because he could eat as voraciously as he could perform Herculean tasks, such as killing the demon Hidamba. It's very obvious. So the particular, I want to say this, maybe some time. Give me a little 2 minutes. There was during the forest area, No, when they were living in the forest, it's a very nice pastime. There was a demon named Bakasura. So he would devour anybody and everybody in the village. So they had a pact with him that every day or something, one person will go with a cart and a buffalo, near Ekachakra, like that. So then Arjuna, then on the in the Brahmana's home where the Pandava was staying, the Brahmana was crying, "This is my turn." So everybody is saying, Brahmana said, "I'll go." The Brahmana says, "No, I will go." The son is saying, "No, I will go," like this. So then Kunti said, "No, no, no, my son will go." So then Bhima went. So Bhima was such a nice eater. He ate everything what was there in the cart, and then he just standing there. And actually not standing there, he was eating very nicely. So Bakasur came and Bhima was like, "Who cares about you?" So he was so angry. You ate everything which I'm supposed to eat, and you are now also eating very nicely and very neglectfully. So then Bhima then fought with him and actually killed Bakasur. But while the fight was going on, Bakasur also was very powerful. So Arjuna and Yudhishthira Maharaj were very much, how to say, they were fearful that maybe something happens to Bhima. So Arjuna was going in the direction, and so he thought that maybe I'm become late. So he took a Nagastra and he released the Nag, a Nagastra aiming at Bakasur. But before the Nagastra could reach, Bakasur was killed. So that Nag remained in that Ekachakra Dham. Later on, it was giving trouble to the people of Ekachakra Dham. Then, what is that? Nityanand Prabhu. Nityanand Prabhu, na? Nityanand Prabhu, what did he do? He put a stone or something like that? Just told that snake to keep quiet or something. Something he did so that snake is controlled. Like this. So he was eating nicely and also fighting nicely. So we should eat nicely and sleep nicely. No, we should do something for Krishna also nicely. So the particular types of conch shell blown by the different personalities on the side of Pandavas, beginning with the lords, were all very encouraging to the fighting soldiers. On the other side, there were no such credits, not the presence of Lord Krishna, the supreme director, nor that of the goddess of fortune. So they were predestined to lose the battle, and that was the message announced by the sounds of the conch shells. Okay? Understood? There was few shlokas, and we'll finish. अनंत विजयम राजा कुंती पुत्रो युधिष्ठिरः नकुलः सहदेवश्च सुघोष मणिपुष्पकौ काश्यश्च परमेश्वासा शिखंडी च महारथः धृष्टद्युम्नो विराटश्च सात्विकिश्च पराजितः द्रुपदो द्रौपदेयश्च सर्वशः पृथ्वीपते सभद्रश्च महाबाहु शंखान् दद्मुः पृथक् पृथक् अनंत विजयम राजा कुंती पुत्रो युधिष्ठिर. So now you see this word Raja comes here, which came in the commentary. So Raja Yudhishthir, who is the son of Kunti, he blew his conch shell named Anant Vijaya. Nakul Sahadevascha Sughosh Mani Pushpakau. Nakul and Sahadev blew Sughosh and Mani Pushpak named conch shells. Are you able to follow the Sanskrit now? It's not that difficult. Kashyascha Parameshwasa. Kashi Raj, who was very much powerful in Paramesh Ishu Asha, that means he was a very powerful bowman. He also blew his conch shell. Shikhandi cha Maharatha. Shikhandi, you know, he was Ambalika in last life. Amba in last life, and he became a man. Drishtadumna Viratascha. Drishtadumna, you know, son of Drupad. And Virat means Virat, the Raja Virat, that means king of Virat. Satyaki is the bodyguard of Krishna. Satyakis cha Parajita. So this cha Parajita has been broken down in two ways. Chapar Rajitah. Chapar means with a chapar, not chapar means a sword, which was Rajita, which is decorating Satyaki very nicely. Or you can say Cha Aparajitah, Satyaki who could not be defeated. So both the meanings can be taken. So Prabhupada took it like that Satyaki also blew his conch shell. Satyaki was undefeated by anybody. You must know that Satyaki was never defeated by anybody. And he was trained by Arjuna in warfare. You know that? He was a disciple of Arjuna and bodyguard of Krishna. He was never defeated by anybody. Undefeated champion. And he also was not killed in the battle of Kurukshetra. He was not killed. Drupado, you know that, father of Draupadi. Draupadeyascha, sons of Draupadi. Sarvashaha Prithvipate. So all these people blew their conch shells. O Prithvipati. Prithvipate refers to Dhritarashtra. Sanjay is now relating to Dhritarashtra. That's why I'm reading the Sanskrit. This Prithvipate means is referring to Dhritarashtra. You see, the word is very interesting. You are Prithvipati. You could have stopped this battle. But my dear Prabhu, you did not stop the battle. Now see the result. All of them are together and ready to fight. This is the significance of the word Prithvipate. Are you able to follow? Saubhadrascha Mahabaho. Saubhadra, you understand? Subhadra. Son of Subhadra. That means Abhimanyu, who had powerful arms. Shankhan Dadamho Prathak Prathak. They blew their different conch shells. King Yudhishthir, the son of Kunti, blew his conch shell. The Anant Vijay and Nakul and Sahadev blew the Sughosh and Manipushpak. The great archer, the king of Kashi, the great fighter Shikhandi, Drishtidumna, Virat, the unconquerable Satyaki, Drupad, the sons of Draupadi, and others, O king, such as the mighty armed son of Subhadra, all blew their respective conch shells. O king refers to Prithvipati. Prithvipati refers to O king. Dhritarashtra. ठीक है. Gita Bhushan. Kashya indicates the king of Kashi, who was a great archer. Is nothing to explain in this. I just have to read. Satyaki was shining with his bow. Chapa Rajitaha. I explained to you. You can break this word in two ways. Cha aparajitaha, who was never defeated, or Chapa Rajitaha, who was decorated with his bow, not a sword, actually, bow. So both ways it can be taken. Sanskrit is like this. O Dhritarashtra, Lord of the earth, your bad advice has brought about this calamity in the form of the destruction of the dynasty. You understand this point? That is the suggestion of addressing the king as the Lord of the earth. You could have stopped the battle, but it's all because of your bad decisions that this battle is happening. You are responsible for all this. They are blowing their conch shells, they're going to fight, and they're going to destroy the dynasty. You are the cause for this. Prithvipate. Sanjay informed King Dhritarashtra very tactfully. What was the tact? Calling him Prithvipate. That his, this is interesting, Prithvipate, and that means the kings from all the Prithvi, all the earth, they are now assembled to kill themselves, all because of you, all because of your greed. Could you not give them just 5 villages? So this all this indicated. That is unwise policy of deceiving the sons of Pandu and endeavoring to enthrone his own sons on the seat of the kingdom was not very laudable. Laudable means which has to be praised. The signs already clearly indicated that the whole Kuru dynasty would be killed in that great battle. Are you able to see the signs? Bhishmadev has blown his conch shell, and from this side, everybody is blowing his conch shell. Fight is going to happen. They're going to die. Beginning with the grandsire Bhishma, down to the grandsons like Abhimanyu and others, including kings from many states of the world, all were present there and all were doomed. The whole catastrophe was due to King Dhritarashtra because he encouraged the policy followed by his sons. Externally, it may appear all this is a warfare, but if you read Bhishma Dev's prayers, what does he say? Hatakata Swarupam. Anybody who left his body in this battlefield of Kurukshetra went back home, back to Godhead. So what do you call this? 64 crore people or something like that. Within 18 days, all of them went back to Godhead because Krishna was personally present. And Krishna made sure that anybody who left his body, he was personally present. It is inconceivable how Lord did it, but he did it. So he is doing good to everybody. Hatakata Swarupam. Last shloka for the divine pleasure. Saghosho dharta rashtrana Hridayani vidaraya Nabhascha prithvim chaiva Tumulobhya anunadayan Tumulobhya anunadayan Leave the mic. Now you said, switch off the mic. ठीक है. Saghosho dhas rashranam. Saghosho, that means the sound which is produced by the Pandavas and everybody, that sound dharth rashranam, sons of Dhritarashtra. Hridayani vidarayat. What does it mean? Vidarana, phar dena, to tear off. So the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra was torn apart by the sound which was produced by the conches of Krishna, Arjuna, and all the warriors on the Pandava side. Was such a kind mentioned for the Pandavas army when the Kauravas had blown their conch shells? When the Kauravas had blown their conch shells, did the hearts of Pandavas army were torn apart? No, that was no mention. But here very clearly mentioned, Hidayani Vidarayat. Nabhascha Prithvim Chaiva. Nabha means sky. Prithvi means earth. Chaiva. Tumlobhyanu Nadhyam. The sound was so great that it expanded even in the sky as well as in the earth. Is it okay? Like that. The blowing of these different conch shells became uproarious, vibrating both in the sky and on the earth. It shattered the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra. The Sanskrit of Bhagavad Gita is very easy. If you actually look carefully, you can very easily understand. The sound of the Pandavas' conches split the hearts of all the Dhritarashtra's followers, including Bhishma. Do you understand the meaning of splitting of heart? Depression. We will not win this fight. We cannot do this. Your hands are whatever, shattering like this. That means it produced pain equal to piercing the heart. Have you ever felt like this? Sometimes we have this, when we're very fearful, we cannot do this, we are not sure what will happen, especially before an examination. Oh, what will happen, like that. The intense sound filled the sky and the earth with its echoes. The sound of the conches of the followers of Dhritarashtra did not cause any agitation in the hearts of the Pandavas because nothing was mentioned of this. Very easy to understand. Purport: when Bhishma and the others on the side of Duryodhana blew their respective conch shells, there was no heart breaking on the part of the Pandavas. Such occurrences are not mentioned, but in this particular verse, it is mentioned that the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra were shattered by the sounds vibrated by the Pandavas' party. This is due to the Pandavas and their confidence in Lord Krishna. You see, externally all the conch shells look same, but the effect is so different because Krishna is on their side. Krishna is manifesting that special effect, so to speak, a special sound effect on the hearts of the party of Duryodhana. One who takes shelter of the Supreme Lord has nothing to fear, even in the midst of the greatest calamity. Beautiful point by Srila Prabhupada. Beautiful point. See, if you actually see the number of warriors on the other side, that means on the Kauravas were more powerful. Bhishma was powerful, Drona was powerful, everybody was powerful. But this side being less powerful also, they had no fear of the other party. Others party being more powerful still was fearful of Pandavas because Krishna was on their side. Very nicely. Oh, so it's finished. So, any questions? I don't see any questions here. Fear. What is the meaning of fear? I don't know. Is this a comment? So, okay, so we shall stop here. I'm not explaining much here because only some points are there. But as soon as in the later part of this chapter, in second chapter, there is much to explain in terms of philosophically. So just continue with us. So shall I stop here? Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.